Your immune system is designed to protect you, but sometimes it gets confused and starts attacking some things that are completely harmless. I'm Zainab, I'm the pharmacist from PillSorted, and this is the first video in our hay fever and allergy series. I'll be explaining in this one what is an allergy, what's the biology behind it, and an overview of how we treat it. So the first exposure is called the sensitization. That's interesting because the first time that you encounter an allergen, nothing actually happens. That's what a lot of people tell me. They say, but I've had this food before, or I played with that cat last week and nothing happened. You're right, because the first time that you get exposed to an allergen, nothing happens outside, so you won't have anything showing for it. But things happen in your body. There are some surveillance cells in our immune cell, and they're responsible to look out for scary stuff. They're responsible to catch out the bacteria, parasites, the viruses, but sometimes they encounter something and they're not really sure, like a polyp, and they push that towards another cell called the T helper cells. So they say, I'm not really sure of this, but take a look. Now what the T helper cells do, they mistakenly think this is dangerous. They pass this to another cell called the B cells, and B cells make a very specific immunoglobulin, which we call an IgE, especially for that allergen. So if cat fur is something that you've encountered, you will have an IgE specifically for cat fur. What is the IgE? It can be like a specialized lock, and this specialized lock gets produced a lot by the B cells, and they travel all around your body. And what they do is they're looking for cells called the mast cells, and these mast cells are like guards that are everywhere in our body that encounters the outside world. So there's a lot of them on the skin, there's a lot of them in your gut, there's a lot of them in your nasal passage and all the mucuses. What they do is the IgEs connect themselves to these mast cells and stand guard. So this is the first stage, the first exposure. It's just that your body has got ready and sensitized toward that trigger. Now, the second exposure is what we call the histamine cascade. There's a really strong chemical called histamine. This is the second time and you're exposed to the same allergen. So you see the cat and you start playing with it again. What happens is the IgEs get locked onto that cat fur allergen, and they send a message to the mast cell, and basically the mast cell explode. The biggest chemical they have in them is the histamine, and histamine is very strong. It makes a cascade of lots of different reactions happen in the whole of our body. What it does, it can make all of the blood vessels dilate, so that's why that area becomes warm and hot, red. It makes the blood vessels leaky, so a lot of fluid comes into the surrounding tissue, making it swollen, and it does start stimulating the nerve, so you feel it's quite itchy, it's painful. All your mucuses go into overdrive, so itchy eyes, runny nose, coughing, all of these happen because of the histamine as well. In addition, it makes the smooth muscles contract. So the smooth muscles are the muscles that you don't need to think about them, but they're constantly working in our body, and they're in lots of strategic places like our airways. So when it contracts, you feel breathless. It also the smooth muscles are in our guts as well, so it causes a lot of cramps and it might make you lose control. All of these happen really fast. It can be in different, severities, but they happen really fast. And then we have the late response, and that happens when the mast cell is exploded. It's not just histamine that it releases. There's lots of other chemicals that it will release as well, like cytokines, like prostaglandins, and what these do, they make a prolonged sensitivity happen. So it means that it can kick in a couple of hours after the exposure, but it's a long-term inflammation. So it will be like an ongoing nasal congestion. It can be an ongoing rash on your skin. It can be stomach upset for a very long time. So this is the later phase and the longer period of inflammation that happens. Now you know what an allergy is and what are the reactions and things that happen in our body. I just want to talk about, how we categorize the types of allergic reactions. So most of the allergy reactions are quite mild. So that is a localized itching, runny nose, sneezing, watery eyes, that sort of symptoms. They're usually manageable with over-the-counter medicine. There is the moderate one. So it is like a little bit more of a swelling all around the body, and it can be more accompanied with asthma symptoms. So it might need a longer period of steroids. And there are severe anaphylactic reaction type, which is very dangerous. It can cause difficulty breathing, it can cause dizziness, it can cause falls, and this is a medical emergency, so you need to call emergencies pretty fast. Now that we know what the allergic reaction is, I'm just going to give you an overview of the treatment, because I'll be covering the treatment in much more detail in the next video. So when we want to treat an allergy reaction, the first line is antihistamine. What antihistamines do is they will stop the cells from responding to histamine. So they can't stop the body from releasing histamine, but they will stop the cells from reacting to the histamine. And the other one is for the long exposure that causes prolonged inflammation. We use steroids. Depending on how severe it is, it might be oral steroids or topical steroids. The other thing is for the localized areas, so if it's skin or if it's the nasals, we'll use local treatments too. If it's a severe allergic reaction, we need to have something really strong, and that is the adrenaline, because adrenaline sort of reverses all of the histamine reactions on the smooth muscles, and that's why we use the EpiPen. These all fix the symptoms of an allergy. However, if we want to get to the root causes of an allergy and reverse that, there is a treatment called immunotherapy, and that means we get exposed to tiny amounts of the allergen, and we gradually increase that amount so that your body doesn't react to it in a way of thinking it's a threat and creating histamine. As a recap, we've realized how allergies work, why sometimes our body gets confused and starts thinking some harmless things are actually a threat, and what is the treatments based on for an allergy. This video is part of our Allergy and Hayfever series. If you've got any questions, feel free to reach out to us for that safe clinician-led advice. Thank you.